Hey everyone, Ross McCorkle here with another episode of the Depot 180. The Pittsburgh Steelers have brought back a familiar name in defensive lineman Dean Lowry. They were said to be signing him about a month ago, but he was still undergoing some rehab and getting back into shape and didn't want to sign until he was fully ready. That time is apparently now. Dean Lowry spent the last couple years on the Steelers roster, suffered an injury, and has experience with Mike McCarthy dating back to Green Bay in 2016 through 2019 when McCarthy left for the Dallas Cowboys. At nearly 32 years old, we'll see if Lowry makes the roster. He hasn't been an impact for the Steelers the last couple years, but he brings with him 132 games, 85 starts, 16.5 career sacks, and 271 total tackles. This is a guy that's been around, and he's had some pretty solid seasons, though his last really solid season came back in 2021. In a pretty crowded defensive line room, he certainly has his work cut out for him to make the 53-man roster, but he's a good addition to the 90-man roster for the rest of the offseason and training camp. OTAs will pick back up this week, and next week will bring with it mandatory minicamp. Before the final couple days of voluntary OTAs, we'll see how many people are actually at the voluntary OTA portion the last few days. It might almost act as another rookie extension of minicamp, but one of the main notes out of OTAs so far has been how Mike McCarthy handles practice. Mike Tomlin was more of a CEO type coach, and maybe it was just a product of him being around for almost 2 decades, but there was a certain level of expectation for how a practice, how a week, how a year would go with Tomlin. At practice, you could almost predict which drill was coming up next. With McCarthy, everything is very regimented. The practices have been spirited, frenetic. Some of these words have been used to describe his sessions. Maybe that's the product of having Scarnecchia as his chief of staff, or maybe that's just how McCarthy's been all along, and we're just noticing the difference here in Pittsburgh. But regardless, these OTA sessions are said to be more intense than what Tomlin had in years past. Let me know how you enjoyed the video on Twitter at Ross_McCorkle, and as always, visit SteelersDepot.com for your latest and greatest Steelers breaking news and analysis.